Hello and welcome to Whispering Woods. Now this is going to be a pretty different park series for me because it's not actually a park, it's more of a themed area. I thought this would be a really cool idea to do because it's basically going to be the same sort of structure as a normal park series but just for this one themed land, so I can put a lot more detail into it and a lot more time. I'm just starting with the coaster as you can see here and the entrance to the land which is off at the back. This is going to be, as you can probably notice, a time-lapse series. And you're probably thinking, Corvus, you don't like time-lapse. I don't. You said you weren't going to do time-lapse again. I know. But here we are doing time-lapse. And yeah, I just don't really like doing it that much because it's the pressure of like recording whilst I'm building. I just don't get on with that too well. But I have to admit, seeing it like this and seeing it all come together in time-lapse, it's quite satisfying. So I'll see how it goes. I'm going to do this themed area series in time-lapse, and I'm going to do my other actual park series, Cedar Cove, which is like my big amusement park, which should be coming soon, by the way. The first episode will release this month, but that is going to be in update style like I usually did with all my other park series over the past couple of years. But yeah, this one is going to be time-lapse, and as you can see, the first and main attraction for this themed area is going to be this Vekoma launched coaster. And as you can probably see, it does still have the 2-car trains. I'm hoping this changes in an update because I've basically kind of designed this coaster around that it would run probably 3 or even 4 cars, because as you can see the coaster is quite large and has some large elements, so we'll do later on. But yeah, I've sort of designed it so that it will accommodate a larger train, and I've tried to do that when I've been looking at the forces to see how the actual like coaster train reacts to all these forces as well. And as you can probably tell, Angela's seen on the thumbnail, that this coaster is mainly, at least these first few elements, inspired by Mahuka, which is the Intamin single rail. They call them the racer. I can't remember what they're called. The hot rod, the hot racer. That's the word. The Intamin hot racer at Wallaby Rhone Alps. That's basically what these first couple of elements are inspired by. As you've seen on the thumbnail, I do like another top hat in the side of this, but at the start here, I did actually do the main large top hat first. Whereas on Mahuka, you have the smaller top hat first and then the larger one after the second launch. And I do kind of realise that about halfway through this build, and I do change it towards the end. And I just love how the coaster is like perfectly positioned, like to make a entrance piece. As soon as you walk in through that path there, you can really see the coaster kind of take over the whole area. It's going to be flying all around you and all over this main path. But I really love the way it looks, and it really was a pain getting that coaster perfectly straight and having the top hat like perfectly a 90-degree angle to it as well. But here I am just filling in around the entrance to try and make it a lot more immersive. Again, you'll have seen from the thumbnail, I really wanted this area to feel like it was quite far removed and separated from the rest of the park. Like you're coming underneath this, you're going through this like sort of entrance to a dark woods, and then you ascend this like steady ramp. Obviously you don't want it to be stairs for wheelchair users, and you go through this, you can see the stone arch that I've made there, and then you're into this themed land. I want it to be quite disguised from a distance. I'm going to put lots of foliage and rocks and trees around it. This was a pain, by the way. I seem to remember a couple of creators on console saying during Planet Coaster 1 that there was some sort of rotation glitch where you couldn't select, like how I am here, the opposite pieces in a circle, because when you went to go and rotate them, it wouldn't rotate them directly around the center. It'd do it slightly off, so you can never get a perfect circle. And I was really you can see here, I was really having these problems. Don't know why it was doing this. I hope this gets resolved soon, hopefully in either update 1 or just another update that'll come in the future, I hope. But yeah, it was quite a pain to get that to work. You'll see in this time lapse there's quite a few bugs, to be honest, but hopefully most of those are going to get resolved in this December the 12th update. But so far, I'm really enjoying this park, this themed area, should I say. It's been really fun. I just really wanted to experiment with this kind of dark theme, and I should probably mention what the theme's going to be as well. Think of sort of Dark Universe at Universal's Epic Universe in Orlando. It's going to be very similar to that, but then also with like vibes of Klugheim at Phantasialand and a couple of other bits thrown in there to try and make this a really immersive themed land. And you can see at the back there, I have already put in the station for the second coaster. At the time of recording this, I haven't actually started the second coaster yet, so I think it is going to be the coaster that it is at the moment, which is the Intamin, what's it called? The friction wheel multiverse, is that what it's called? Yeah, the multi-dimension coaster that's with the friction wheel, similar to Hagrid's or 13. It's going to be sort of that style, and I really want to get sort of the interaction that the two coasters in Klugheim at Phantasialand have with each other. Like the Intamin Blitz coaster and the Vekoma Family coaster, which is kind of the opposite way around here. I've just noticed that the Intamin coaster is the family one and the Vekoma one is the thrill one. When I was planning this park, even before Planet Coaster 2 launched, I had sort of an idea of what coasters I thought were going to be in the game. One of those was the Intamin Blitz. So this coaster should have been an Intamin Blitz, which is kind of annoying that it isn't, but at the same time, I'm not complaining that it is a Vekoma because it just gives me an excuse to use this modern gen Vekoma coaster again, which I'm loving. It's so easy to smooth, it really keeps its profiling well, and I just love the way it looks. It looks exactly the same as it does in real life, and I'm so happy. I just really hope that we can get the trains changed to have more cars and not so themed up. And speaking of the train design as well, if the update, whether the one on the 12th or an update after that, does contain a way to change the look of the coaster train, like whether I can just make it the more plain one, or if it doesn't, then I'll just use the in-game attachable scenery to theme up that train. But I'll probably do that next episode when I go in and add the custom supports, because obviously on that December the 12th update we are getting custom supports finally. I'm so happy about that, because I'm not supporting this coaster with the log flume supports, because that would just take ages. So I'm going to wait until the custom supports come in the game. That will be next episode, where I'll be adding more theming to this area and custom supporting this coaster, maybe even starting the next coaster, I don't know. But this park series is probably going to be about 5, 6, 7 episodes maybe, just getting this themed area really complete, adding a lot of detail and making these coasters some of the most realistic coasters that I've ever made. As you can see here, I've moved on to theming the rest of the kind of entrance experience. Again, I wanted this to be like as immersive as possible, but I was really imagining that it would be quite far out the way of the rest of the like whatever park this is in, and it would be quite set back, so you want this sort of dramatic hidden approach as you come towards this themed area. And there is a view as you look directly down, which is probably where I've got the thumbnail from. I haven't actually taken that photo yet, but where you look down the like this entrance kind of path almost, and you've got the arch at the end and then the coaster track flying overhead. I love that view, and I really wanted that to be like the main sightline. So all you can really see is like these nice built up rocky walls, like almost like the entrance to a cave kind of, with this nice foliage around, and then just peeking over the top through the trees and the fog you can see this huge coaster. And I thought that would be so intriguing, seeing that from a distance, just a little glimpse of this massive coaster, and it just make you want to go in the area. So I thought that could be really nice. Here I'm just making this sign for the area, which I did want to be quite subtle, and it took me a while to kind of find out what I wanted, but I'm quite happy with the way it looks. It just kind of sits nicely in the background. It's not too intrusive. It's just more of a, it's there if you notice it, but if you don't notice it, it doesn't really matter, because you still obviously know what's going on in this area once you go in. The theming and like sort of visual experience will speak for itself in a way. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this sort of like time-lapse longer form of video, because obviously this isn't really what I normally do, so I want to know if it is working and if you're enjoying it, because if you are enjoying it, I'll definitely try to do more of it, as much as it's very different for me and my normal like creation style. If it works, then I'm happy to keep going with it, because if I can make the content any better, I'll definitely try to do that. And obviously if you're enjoying it, that would be great. Here I'm just working more on the coaster to put this sort of inverted top hat in underneath. I just built it without changing any of the banking first, just so I knew I could get it perfectly symmetrical, and then I went back in, changed that top part to be 180 degrees upside down, and then used the very helpful new smoothing tool to smooth out the profiling on that to make it quite a enjoyable experience, and not as it is at the moment where it like yanks you to the side as you go through it. But I'm just really impressed in general with the coaster builder in Planet Coaster 2. It feels a lot more like, I'm not going to say intuitive yet, because there's still a couple of things like with the construction and edit mode with the UI that I'd like to change, but in terms of how like you use it, the smoothing tool especially, it just feels like a lot more polished, which is great to see. It's nice that obviously the game's called Planet Coaster, so it's great that the coaster builder is getting the attention that it deserves. And you can see that little view there that I mentioned earlier, just as you look up through the entrance, through the kind of entrance archway, and then you get the view of those two parts of the coaster, and I'm just so happy with the way that looks. Here I kind of got to a point where the coaster was annoying me a little bit because I couldn't really think of what I wanted more to do with the layout. So the best thing I would recommend in this situation is, if you get a bit annoyed with something that you're playing in the game, just move on to something different. So I moved on to adding some more details to the entrance area here, and it really made me not only think about the theming of the area more, which did actually inform the like next decisions in the coaster design, but it also really helped me just kind of take a step back and just do something else for a little bit, because it's definitely the best thing to do if you're getting frustrated. Just go and do something else for a little bit, come back to it feeling a bit fresh, and then yeah, you'll be right back into the swing of things, no problem. So here I just started building sort of this like little banner bunting structure. I sort of wanted it to look like the entrance to some sort of either previously quite vibrant or maybe even now abandoned village. So I wanted to add like signs of life, almost like banners and stuff, as you saw earlier when I was placing down like the boxes and the barrels, just stuff to make the area feel like lived in and active in a way. But at the same time, you can see here with the colours especially, it feels a little bit abandoned, which I really do like that style. I don't know if you noticed, I just love abandoned things in general. I was supposed to do like a fully abandoned park series in Planet Coaster 1, but it never really happened just because of timing, and obviously Planet Coaster 2 releasing it, although I did include quite a few projects and coasters from that park in my abandoned series videos from Planet Coaster 1, so if you haven't seen those already, I would highly recommend looking at those, just covering all the things that I never managed to get finished in Planet Coaster 1, and it's quite cool looking back on it all. There's a lot of projects over the like 3.5 years I've been playing Planet Coaster 1 that I didn't finish. So it's yeah, nice to see all of those, and especially because quite a few of them took a long time, so seeing them finally on YouTube has been nice. I'm adding sort of rocks here and like bricks to kind of indicate that there used to be some more buildings here and they've started to like crumble away, so it's almost like the foundations for those. And then these are going to be the main stairs to actually get down to the bottom of the area, because I definitely want to add a lot of terrain into this themed land. That's one thing that I think really makes Klugheim at Phantasialand a lot more immersive, is the changes in elevation. Obviously when you enter the, well, I suppose depending on where you enter the area from, say if you enter it from what's like almost from the main street at the back, I think it's been a while since I've been there, you're quite elevated up. Like when you walk past, is it like all the food places near Chapas, you're quite elevated at that point, so you get like a really nice view over the area. You can see most of it because you're quite high up, and it makes you realise how big the area is. But when you enter it from quite a low point as well, like near, I think it's Colorado Adventure, if you come from that direction, the area feels a lot more like grand because of how like huge and expansive it feels when you're like right underneath it. So it's kind of getting that different interaction and different scale as you approach the area. Like when you come into this area, you've got the initial reveal of the coaster overhead, and you've come through this like small archway to see this giant like coaster and themed area at the back. So immediately it will feel quite expansive and large. But when you go into the area, and if you choose to go down the two staircases at the side, you're immediately met with like a more intimate view of the area, where all of the theming is a lot more closer to you. The coaster's quite overhead, so it'll make you feel quite small. It's just getting those kind of different experiences as you enter this land that I think is really important to how you design your coasters. And speaking of the coaster, back onto it now, trying to get this layout more fleshed out. So after this main top hat, which I still haven't swapped out at this point, so it does just do the inversion straight out the station, then go into the bigger top hat first, which, like I said, I do swap, so it goes into the smaller top hat first. But after the big top hat, it does do this kind of cool banked, outer banked top hat, then twist down into that drop, which is going to be quite a snappy drop. And then as you saw there, whilst the coaster is testing, I'm pausing it and checking where the G-forces are on this to make sure that that airtime hill is pretty punchy, but at the same time I don't want it to be too forceful, because yeah, airtime is great. Obviously, I love airtime, don't get me wrong, but you don't want it to be really, really intense because you don't want to get your torso ripped off. So after here, I've angled the airtime hill down and risen into what was originally going to be an Immelman, but then I decided to bring it into this really long extended stall style. This is very similar to one of the inversions that is going to be on, I can't remember the name of it, but the Vekoma Super Boomerang model. There's a new one being built at a park in America. It's very similar to that, where it enters this sort of Immelman style and then stalls at the top and then like kind of barrels down out of it. And I love the look of that transition, how it barrels out of it. It's sort of like you can see it here, it's like a downwards inversion almost, but obviously you're already upside down at the top, so it isn't really. Smoothing this ended up being an absolute nightmare just because the track limits, they're such a pain. I really hope this gets changed. If you have the banking offset on literally anything, the track limits are just so mean to you. I don't know whether this is something that's going to be fixed or whether this is how it was in Planet Coaster 1, because for quite a while in Planet Coaster 1 I had the mods, so I didn't really have track limits. But even though I've gone into the settings in this game and turned the track limits off, it seems to have made little to no difference, where this element was still such a pain to smooth because for some reason, as you can see, the banking isn't even that harsh, but the track just wouldn't have it. So yeah, I really do hope that that changes at some point in the future. As you can see, I was just adjusting the angle of the stall there and how high up it was to make sure it goes through at that perfect speed. As you can see in a bit here, couldn't even auto connect it. The line was just not having it. So yeah, I hope that gets changed in the future. Please, Frontier. It was just so infuriating trying to smooth this, and I really want to use the new smooth tool that you've implemented as well, because it's great, but it just doesn't work in this situation. As for the rest of this themed area that will be coming over the next few episodes, I did want to make this kind of central pathway not really straight and a bit more freeform, as if it's some sort of long plaza. So that's what I started doing here with the path editor tool, just kind of breaking it up, making it feel a bit more non-standard. Don't know whether this is going to stay the same or change over the next couple of episodes, but the area is going to really expand quite far beyond this coaster to incorporate some like restaurants and shops and stuff, and maybe even another ride. I don't know yet. I might put a flat ride in, or even a dark ride or a water ride. I don't know. I'll just have to see where it goes. If you've got any suggestions for stuff like that, please do let me know in the comments. As for the other rides in the area though that we know of so far, there's definitely going to be that Intamin Multiverse family coaster like I mentioned before. Whether that's going to change in coaster type, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty set on what coaster type this is going to be. But as you can see here, the main reason I don't record in time lapse is because this coaster, and along with all my other coasters, change so much over the course of me building it that it just feels like the time lapses go on forever. I'm playing these at 140% speed and it still feels like it's taken a while to get there. This whole element that's after the second top hat, which technically is the first top hat after I change it, none of this stays. I delete all of it, I think twice. Like I build this and then another part to it, which I didn't like, and then I changed it again and I still didn't like it. So yeah, building an update style I think suits me a lot more, but if this does prove to be quite popular, I'll put up with it. Because if it makes some obviously more entertaining content, then I'll definitely give it a go. Because I do much prefer building an update style. It just much more suits my creative style and my output, especially because I don't normally have long stints to create. Like I think this single episode was probably created, I think I started it during the Planet Coaster Early Access. It's taken that long, but it's just because I barely have any time anymore. I've obviously got all of my uni work that is being pretty relentless at the moment, along with my actual job, which is very busy this time of year as well in the run up to Christmas. So I'm hoping that one of those calms down at some point, so I can get a bit more time on YouTube. But yeah, it depends. We'll see how it goes. Like I've said, don't get too attached to what I'm building at the moment because it doesn't stay. This just really doesn't suit my updates, like my building style. I know most people are probably just going to say it's not too hard, you just have to press record and then build, but I don't know, it almost adds an extra bit of pressure while I'm building in a way where I feel like I have to like not move the camera that much, which doesn't happen because I just forget. And then I feel like I need to somewhat build with what I'm building to have some sort of I don't know, finality to it, but it doesn't, because it changes so much. So what I'm building at the moment is never what it will finally be, because I'll even do like little touch-up bits off camera of like smoothing and reprofiling. So it just doesn't work out like that. Like you've seen there, I've just deleted that whole section, and this section I'm building here, I think even right back to that top hat, I delete the whole thing. But I do hope that it does give you some sort of interesting insight into my build process, because I know a lot of people will comment on my videos saying, oh, it takes me ages to build a coaster and then I'm still not happy with it. Same. It's not just you, it's me as well. The coasters in, let's say, Wonderworld, I remember that Vekoma family coaster, the orange one, that probably took the best part of about 2 or 3 weeks to get that layout perfect. Like, it takes a while, and obviously I've been doing this for 3.5 years now, and it still takes me this long, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because obviously I want to fine-tune the layouts to be basically as perfect as they can be for me, and I'm still never going to be 100% happy with them, because in real life you wouldn't just have one person designing a coaster, you'd have a team of people designing the layout, and it'd be a combination of all of your best ideas, whereas this is just me. So yeah, I really hope that you are finding it interesting how the sort of I don't know, my building method works. But yeah, like I've said, it didn't stay. See, delete the whole thing already, and then I think at some point in the next couple of clips I delete even more. Yep, it's all gone. Just delete the whole thing. So after the second top hat here, I did something quite cool, which I didn't really know whether it would work at first, but I did sort of have the idea to do this part. It's the blue launched mat coaster. Is it Beyond the Cloud or Beyond the Clouds? After its giant top hat on its way over to its implement, like this is a hyper coaster, bear in mind, it does this huge top hat that's launched to get into the top hat, so it's already got some crazy speed at this point, and then it goes through this crazy fast, quite elongated heartline roll like I've done here, and I don't know whether it is the fastest inversion in the world, or that's the one on, is it full throttle or max force, one of those two. But yeah, it looks like it's probably at least the second fastest, if not the first. So yeah, I mean, yeah, as you can see there, I've just deleted that whole other portion as well. So it goes straight into that inversion and misses out all the part I've just spent the last 5 minutes building. But yeah, it's especially Vekoma profiling. I find I wouldn't say it's like particularly difficult. It's just very, very particular. Like that airtime hill there, after it's come out of the heartline roll that I've done, I'm doing hand movements, I know you can't see them, it kind of banks to the side quite aggressively in that 90-degree turn. Then once it's leveled off flat again, it rises into that airtime hill, then goes back down, still at the track being flat, and then nearly levels out and then starts to bank down again to the right. The profiling is really odd but incredibly satisfying as well. Like you can see here, I'm building this inversion backwards, which you'll be happy to know this part does stay. So I built that inversion backwards. Obviously those two tracks are way too close to each other, but just, I don't know, seeing how the Vekoma profiling works, it's just so satisfying. Building this coaster was just really fun in general, just because of how satisfying it was. And I will try and make a realistic coaster tutorial video soon, because I know it was probably I think it was my most popular video in Planet Coaster 1. It's still like 150,000 views or something crazy. But yeah, building Vekoma profiling, because like I've mentioned it being this specific, the best thing I can do to actually get your profiling this specific, and the best thing I do, is I have a second monitor, which I'm not saying you need one, but having like reference photos open next to you so that you can see how the real life equivalents of these elements work really helps. That's what I do most of the time. I don't think I did for quite a few elements in this coaster, like the top hat I did, but yeah, I'm fairly familiar with how Vekoma profiling works. But yeah, for the bits that I was struggling on, like that airtime hill there, because of how specific it is, I got like some reference photos. I think that airtime hill was similar to the one on, it might have been Phoenix or one of the Top Gun models. But yeah, that's just how Vekoma profile them, and it's so specific, and I really wanted obviously to be exact and very accurate with how that works. It's like I did with that corkscrew there. I realised after I'd built it that it just wasn't accurate at all, so I deleted it, started again. There's quite a lot of doing that with building coasters, and I'm sure there will be with the next coaster, but we'll see how it is with theming time-lapse as well, because I haven't done that in a while, and theming I'm even more indecisive than I am building coasters, because I'm a lot more confident building coasters than I am building theming, so we'll have to see how that works. But nearly back at the station now. Kind of connecting up these bits back into the first launch, which I think I have swapped over now, so it does do the inversion out the station, go into the smaller top hat underneath the big one first, does this part of the layout that I'm building now, and then connects back into the launch, as you can see there, and then goes into the big top hat to then go into that airtime hill and Immelman like stall that I built earlier. As for the ending of this coaster, I'm not completely happy with it. It will probably change over the next couple of episodes. I might do that off camera though, because I was just getting so stressed out about how to finish this coaster. Like I tried to keep myself, I can't just do one thing at a time. I have to like have something going on in the background to keep me mostly entertained. Like while I was doing this, I think it was a combination between listening to music, watching I think 2 of the Off the Tracks podcasts, the one of Digital Dan, and then I watched the one with Bianca as well. They were both great podcasts. I very highly recommend those if you want something to do while you're building, because it's just nice to have something on the background. And I think I watched a couple of the Coasting Through Europe Coaster Studio vlogs as well, and then a couple of other things to keep me entertained while I was doing this. Probably my Spotify Wrapped playlist as well. Just stuff to make me not go insane while I'm building these coasters, because I get like so thrown into it that I just want it to be perfect. And as you can see with this element that I've just built and we're about to go in around here, it was far from perfect. The speed through that was great, and then that was just way too slow. So yeah, didn't delete the whole thing at first. I tried to kind of remedy it by making it a bit shorter, but I do end up just deleting the whole thing. But yeah, that's the thing with coasters. It's fine to be indecisive with the layout because you're in the pursuit of perfection. At least I am with these. So yeah, that whole element gone. Which, like I've said, is completely fine. I try not to be too precious with my coaster designs because I know that there are certain parts that'll change, and even after like I've done the episode in Park Series and noticed something like in the premiere of watching the video that I'd rather have changed, they're never going to be completely perfect. Like I said, there's only me working on these projects, so it's going to be like that, but it's fine. Like the way that I sometimes get around these issues is like I've said, watching POVs of the existing coaster model, or even not even that kind of coaster model, just to get ideas, because manufacturers will kind of get inspired and steal ideas from each other all the time, which is fine. That's kind of how designing works. You get inspired from loads of different places, but yeah, I try not to be too precious with them. I did start blueprinting the coaster at certain points during the build, so say if I build something and then delete it and then realize that I did actually quite like what I just done and it could be used in like a certain way, that if I've got the coaster like different revisions of it blueprinted, then yeah, that can definitely help, and then you're not going to lose any progress as well. And that's the most important thing: back up your parks, please. Make sure they are saved in more than one place, not just on your PC, because you do not want to lose these projects. But yeah, we are coming towards the end of this episode and towards the end of at least the first full version of this coaster. I'll put in a POV at the end, but whether this coaster has elements or parts of it that change over this park series, I don't know. I'm definitely going to change the ending of this coaster that you will see later on, because I'm not completely happy with that. I think that's probably the part that I'm the least happy with. As you can see here, I was really struggling with how to get it back to the station and still use up quite a bit of that speed that it does have at this point, because we've only done a couple of elements after the tallest part of the ride, so it's still got a pretty decent speed. And obviously I don't want to make it overly compact, because the amount of theming and like rock work and stuff that I want to put around this, and most importantly path work, it's going to be really difficult to make all of that work, because normally I design like coasters and paths kind of simultaneously around each other, but this coaster I really wanted to challenge myself and just design a purely good coaster first and then make sure that the theming worked around it, because I didn't want the coaster purely just to respond to the theming, just because in case the layout of the theming wasn't too great, then it might impact the coaster, and I don't know, it's probably just me overthinking it too much. But yeah, making sure that it all like feels, as Moomin would say, cohesive is something that was definitely really important to me. And yeah, you can see here I really do start to struggle with this ending. And we are a couple of minutes from the end of this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it, especially this very different format for me. Please let me know in the comments if you think this sort of format works. Whether it's the time-lapse or the way that I'm doing the commentary over it, or even this longer form video, because it's going to be nearly 40 minutes long from where I'm editing at the moment. So yeah, if you've enjoyed any part of this that feels new or fresh compared to my other park series, please do let me know. Any feedback is always really appreciated, and I'd reply to every comment as well. So if you've got anything to say about this park series or just stuff you'd like to ask me in general, comment them down below. I'm sure I will get you a response. And if you need any help with anything Planet Coaster 2 related, definitely join my Discord server. There are lots of creators in there that I'm sure would be willing to help you with all the Planco 2 needs that you've got. But I'm just so happy with the way this has all come together. I had the main idea for this park series pretty much around the time that Epic Universe was announced, and we were all shown what a dark universe is. So I really wanted to do a theme like that, because that's definitely going to be my favourite area in that park. I can tell already. The theming just looks fascinating. It looks really, really beautiful, and I wanted to just make something that will hopefully somewhat live up to the experience that Dark Universe is going to offer guests when the park opens next year, which is going to be really cool. I'm really excited to see what everyone thinks about it, because the park does look awesome. But yeah, here we are, nearly at the end of this episode. I will give you a POV of the coaster in its current form, which will be quite interesting to see how it changes over the park series. Don't know when the next episode of this series is going to be. Like I've said, they're not dropping in any sort of schedule. They're dropping when they are finished, along with Cedar Cove as well, my amusement park series. Episodes of that will start to release hopefully very soon. The first episode will be releasing this month, and then same with this park series, the episodes for that will just be releasing whenever they're finished. It's a much more relaxing approach for me to making content doing it this way. So yeah, this is how it's going to be going all the way in the future now. I will be uploading when the episodes and content just in general is ready. So yeah, thank you so very much for watching this episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Thank you again for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.